Reinvention is not what the internet sells it as. The internet version looks like a dramatic reveal. Before and after. Old life on the left. New life on the right. The transformation presented as a product that was purchased or a moment that arrived and changed everything cleanly and completely. Real reinvention looks nothing like that. It is slower and messier and more uncomfortable than any highlight reel suggests. It happens in the ordinary days where nothing feels like it is changing while everything is actually changing underneath the surface. It happens in the moments where the old version of you is still very present and very loud, and the new version is barely a whisper that you have to lean in to hear. It does not feel like transformation while it is happening. It feels like confusion and effort, and the specific discomfort of someone who no longer fully fits in the life they have been living, but has not yet fully arrived in the life they are building toward. That in-between space is where the real reinvention happens, and it is not photogenic, and it does not make good content, but it is the only place where the genuine change actually occurs. The first truth about reinventing yourself is that you are not actually creating someone new from nothing. You are uncovering someone who was already there, underneath everything that was placed on top of them by circumstance and environment, and the accumulated weight of other people's definitions of who you are and what you are capable of. The reinvention is more excavation than construction. You are removing the layers that were added by the family that decided what kind of person you were before you were old enough to decide for yourself. The school system that sorted you into a category and taught you to believe the category was accurate. The friend group that built its identity around a version of you that served the group's needs rather than your own development. The culture that handed you a script and called the script your personality. Underneath all of that is something that was there before the layering began. The reinvention is the process of finding it again and deciding to build from it rather than from everything that was placed on top of it. The identity you are trying to leave behind will fight to survive. This is the part nobody prepares you for, and it is the part that stops the most people before the reinvention gets traction. The old identity fights through the people around you who knew the old version and feel uncomfortable with the new one. It fights through your own internal voice that associates the changes you are making with the loss of belonging and the loss of certainty about who you are. It fights through the habits that run automatically in service of the person you used to be. It fights through the situations that pull for the old response and make the new one feel unnatural and performed. The old identity is not your enemy. It kept you safe and functional through a period of your life when that version of safety and function was what you needed. But it was never supposed to be permanent. The fight it puts up is real, and it needs to be moved through rather than avoided. Moving through it is the reinvention. Behavior changes before identity does, and understanding this sequence saves enormous confusion and frustration during the reinvention process. Young men who are trying to reinvent themselves often wait to feel like the new person before acting like the new person. They wait for the internal shift to arrive and then plan to let the behavior follow from it. But the sequence runs the other direction. The behavior comes first and the identity catches up over time as the evidence from the behavior accumulates into a new self-understanding. You do not feel like a disciplined person and then become one. You act like a disciplined person repeatedly, and eventually the identity of someone who is disciplined forms around the accumulated evidence of the behavior. Every day you act like the person you are becoming rather than the person you have been is a day the new identity gets slightly more established. The feeling of being the new person comes at the end of this process, not at the beginning. The environment you are in is either supporting the reinvention or working against it, and being honest about which one it is will save you years. The same environment that produced the old version of you is optimized for the old version. It knows how to pull the old responses from you because it has been doing it for years, and the patterns are deep and automatic. Walking into the environment that shaped the person you are trying to move away from and trying to be a different person inside, it is fighting with one hand tied behind your back. The reinvention happens faster and with less friction when the environment changes alongside the behavior. New spaces, new inputs, new people whose normal is closer to the normal you are building toward. This does not mean running away from everything familiar or treating the past as something shameful to be abandoned. It means being honest about which parts of your current environment are serving the direction you are going and which parts are anchoring you to the direction you are leaving.